Welcome back to 27th Hour. My name is Shelby Nye, and I am your bad witch. We are here at episode 65, and you guys are in for a weird one.
Welcome. You're listening to the 27th Hour with Junior
and Dre Rocker.
Get ready, strap in, and hang on. Okay, we're on the right track. So you good? You guys find the game? I don't know. Welcome back to the show.
To the show.
Shelby.
Did you say Shelby or shall we?
Shelby.
Or Shelby?
Shelby. Shelby Nye, that's my name. This is my game.
Up in the house. No introduction needed.
Here I am.
What's up, bro?
Nothing crazy. How are you?
Really good.
That's good.
We're really good. We're busy.
Busy as always. That's a good problem to have.
That's all we are is busy. 25 hours a day. 27 hours a day.
27.
Right here. It says right here somewhere.
Name drop.
This Jade's dad, shout out Dustin, made our new merch. They're cool. Get some merch from us, yo. We're working on shirts and all that right now.
I love it.
How is your life?
My life is great. Wedding coming up, so that's exciting.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Really?
The big day in June, so it is going to be an adventure.
Where at? Where you going? What's the story?
We're getting married up at my family's property up by Kazi Reservoir. So there's no internet connection up there. So I'm really excited because nobody's me taking pictures.
You don't want pictures?
I want professional pictures. I don't want anybody in my professional pictures with their iPhone.
Got it. To ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. All the money I paid for it.
Is it, who's doing like the official, what's the guy? What is he called?
The efficient?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have just a friend doing it kind of thing, or you got a real pastor going out there, or how does that all go?
No pastors.
I wondered.
Yeah, no, definitely no pastors. We're going to have my fiance's grandpa efficient.
Nice.
So.
I hope it goes well.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Do you want it to rain?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, huh?
It's good luck.
It's a real thing. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm. You know why?
Why?
Because when you tie the knot, if you get it wet, it makes it harder to untie the knot.
Are you kidding me right now?
That's exactly
That makes
it.
so much sense, bro. I like that. How do you know these things?
Witchcraft and spirituality.
That opened the door right there.
It all ties in together.
That's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Mm-hmm.
I wondered what that
was.
was.
Tradition.
A pagan thing. It's a pagan thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So typically, some of the oldest, most far back witches they can find are rooted in paganism. And so paganism is kind of an umbrella for a lot of different break-offs. It's really interesting. It's really intricate, very complex, but it's a lot of fun.
Paganism.
It's
not evil.
Not evil. Definitely not. Complete
What's the
opposite.
stigma behind this? Why do we all think that? Why? I'm speaking for everybody in the world here, but I think that's a thing.
It is absolutely a thing. We see in Hollywood all the time. There's a lot of make-believe that they throw into it. The sprinkles of like, this is satanic, this is evil because you're not believing in the one true Christian God that the Roman Christians brought over. That's a big thing with paganism when you look into the history, especially if you look into Arthurian legend, like King Arthur. They talk a lot about how the magic, the fairies in King Arthur were being conquered by the Red Cloaks, which is very much symbolic of the Celtic pagans being taken over by the Anglo-Saxon Christians that came over. So
you kind of know a lot about this.
I kind of know a lot about it. I know quite a bit about that because I've traced my genealogy back to one of the largest pagan cities in Europe. So it's definitely in my bloodline.
Is that scary? That's kind of scary.
It doesn't scare me. It's
Why does it scare
liberating.
me? It scares me. I love it. That's cool, man. So is it still? It's still practiced today.
Mm-hmm.
Is it branched off and made many things as well? Isn't that for different spin-offs of the belief? I guess is it belief? What would it be called?
Yeah, it's kind of a belief system. There is a lot of break-offs and branches. So there's like paganism, which is kind of the umbrella. There is Wicca, which is a religion within itself that holds kind of a lot of the same pagan beliefs, but they have different rules and different, it's kind of like the way Christianity breaks off with their different rules and all of that. So it's very similar to that. They have eclectic witchcraft, which is just kind of what I do, where I learn a lot about different things and I pull things that resonate with me into my own practice. They have death witches that work with the dead. That's probably a big scary term for a lot of people, but it's really not. It's really not scary when you know a lot about it.
What does that mean? What do you mean? What is that?
Death witches?
Yes, just roughly graze across that.
So death witches are witches who practice magic working with people who have crossed over to the other side. It kind of depends.
With a spirit thing, not an actual...
No, not typically a dead body, but I can't speak for everybody because I don't know what everybody does. But
so they'll summon spirits or whatever.
Yeah, summon spirits. A lot of them communicate with family members passed on. A lot of witchcraft, we actually all kind of, at least for me, I run a lot together because I am eclectic. So I pull from all these different kind of types of witchcraft. So I talk to people on the other side a lot. That makes
you more versed, right? You have a full range of knowledge throughout the whole thing of it. Why do we think of it scary though? Why do we all do that? Why is it a thing? I'm speaking again for the masses. Why is it so strange that that's not good? You hear witch or even satanic Satanism. They don't believe that they're not evil at all.
No, not at all.
They're very. What's the correct term? What are they? What is that?
So the Satanic Temple, they don't even believe in Satan because you have to have a belief in the Christian God to believe in Satan, and they don't believe in the Christian God, so they only believe in like understanding science, believing in science, maintaining your human rights as a human being. That's why you see the Satanic Temple fighting for women's rights in Texas right now and all of that amazing stuff. So they're not religious at all.
That's interesting. Why we think that's such a bad thing.
The reason why we all think that it's such a bad thing is because way back in history, we see the Romans who crucified Jesus, but then adopted the Christian practice and used it to kind of take over and conquer all of these different realms. And they burned witches at the stake. They impaled women who they thought were witches through the vagina. They did a lot of horrible things to midwives and medicine women.
For not believing in their thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because they
That's
believed
healthy.
in earth. They believed in the medicine of earth and not the priests and all of that. So a lot of people who weren't going to convert to Christianity ended up getting burned at the stake. And so to avoid that, people went into hiding in practice. It was talked about as evil because at that time it was evil. If you talked about it, you were going to die. You were going to get killed. So
that makes total sense.
Carries
totally
over.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's so crazy. I wondered, and it's today. It's like an evil thing. Evil, whatever even that means. I believe it's scary. It's simply means unknown, right? It's all fear is that's unknown.
False evidence appearing real.
Isn't that something? So just normal, good old-fashioned people could very well that even like myself maybe that believe in absolutely nothing other than just this second right now.
Present.
Could be easily called a Satanist simply because I don't believe in, or I believe in science, things I can see, touch, feel, things that are alive with me now.
Yep.
Not something common, not something that's been, something now. I'm just a very now guy.
The present moment is the only moment that exists.
And I totally believe that, 100%. So yeah, that's weird. I could be pegged as something totally goofy then easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe just a few years ago in Louisiana, somebody was arrested for practicing witchcraft, which is really interesting because Louisiana has New Orleans, which is one of the main witchcraft capitals of our country.
Ooh, like voodoo. What is that line? Is that what
voodoo,
that is?
Hoodoo,
That's
brujeria.
hella big down there.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity, but it's technically still illegal in Louisiana to practice witchcraft.
Really?
Yep.
Do we have, you said the temples, do we have a temple like that here that you know of? Is there stuff like that in Utah that's known?
Not that I know of. There's not a temple. I believe it's just simply because there's so many people that practice differently. It's not one regulated practice because witchcraft and spirituality as a whole is all about your relationship with your higher power and not the community's relationship with their higher power, which we see in organized religions pretty frequently. Myself, I actually grew up LDS, which is kind of funny because witchcraft runs in my bloodline, so they kind of veered off that path and I brought us back a little bit, but it's really interesting just to kind of see how all of that has like
What
meddled.
what turned you off or pushed you away or whatever? At what age did you go, hey, wait a second?
I think so. I was 17 when I left. I was still living with my parents, so I still kind of like passively went. Mostly just scheduled myself to work on Sundays, so I didn't have to go. And then once I turned 18, I moved out after 6 days of being 18. Left, never looked back, and I think it's hard to kind of pinpoint what broke my shelf in the church. I think the majority of it is the patriarchy of the church, the politics and the patriarchy that is within the church, the oppressive tendencies of the church, and all of that. It's a lot more liberating to be on the outside.
So you don't even know how it happened then. It just kind of did. You just kind of got some hip to it, like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I think so. For me, a lot of people would talk about how like you feel the Holy Spirit and you feel all these things during testimony meeting, and like my whole life I was always like, I don't feel what you're talking about. At girls camp there were a few times that I was like, okay, maybe. And I've learned since that spiritual experiences don't have to be because of the church. You can be in a setting that is a church setting, still have a spiritual experience, but it doesn't have anything to do with the church. And I think it was 2015 when they came out with the policy saying that children of gay people were not allowed to be baptized until they turned 18. And I was so confused. I didn't understand why, because they hadn't done anything themselves. It was their parents who were in a homosexual relationship. And I remember asking my dad what happened, and he didn't have answers for me. So instead of just telling me he didn't know, which is very discouraged in the church from priesthood holders, he got really upset and just sent me to my room because he didn't have the answer. And I think that was probably it for me, where I was like, this is bullshit.
Let's seriously go there. That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's still a thing.
Absolutely. So
that is unbelievable.
There's a law in the
That's
church
really weird.
That people don't talk about. Women still can't hold the priesthood in the church. So
Okay,
if you're not married to a priesthood holder, you have to invite strangers into your house to come bless your kids or do all of that. And they discourage astrology. They discourage Reiki healing. They discourage tarot because it's evil and it's of the devil. But I fully believe that the reason those are discouraged in the church is because people, when you do Reiki and you read tarot and you get into astrology, especially as a woman, you realize I actually have the power that they've been telling me my whole life that I was not ever worthy of. And I'm more than just somebody who's made to be a wife and a homemaker for the rest of my life. Like, I have the power to bless my children. I have the power to protect my home. I have the power to see the future options that are ahead of me and to guide myself. I can communicate with my angels. I can communicate with my higher self, with people that have passed on. That does not require a patriarch. That does not require a man. Any single mom, any man, any woman, anybody, anywhere can
just
do
you.
this. Mm-hmm.
You're empowered, right? That's so powerful, man.
Yep.
Why isn't that attractive to all women?
Exactly.
That's cool.
It's really interesting, too, because when you look at the terms for God in the Bible, I went on a whole deep dive and a study into kind of where the origins came from. And in the Bible, they call God, God, and they also call him Yahweh. And Yahweh is the Hebrew form of the suffix for the masculine and the feminine. So Yah, I believe, is feminine, Weh is masculine. And so when you put them together, it is the masculine and the feminine. And then you look at God, which is, I believe, Germanic in origin, and it means to invoke. So the names for God in the Bible literally mean to invoke or to call in the masculine and the feminine. And when you strip the feminine and you make them feel separate from the masculine, people don't know how to embody those themselves, which inherently makes them powerless. Because in order to manifest and create anything, you have to have the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah, they're both involved, right? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And
so we're hypocritical of it for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting concept because in each and every single sentient being, we all hold the divine masculine and the divine feminine, where the divine feminine is the thoughts, the ideas, the flow, the like creativity, and the masculine is action and assertiveness and productivity and all of these things. And when you look at it like that, you cannot be assertive and take action if you don't have an idea and a creative flow. But if you only have an idea and a creative flow, then you have no action or assertiveness, you're never going to get anything done. So that's why they say you have to have both in order to create. If you split it off from each other and you say, okay, the women over here are meant to be the homemakers. They're meant to create. They're meant to be soft. They're meant to be nurturing. And then the masculine men over here are meant to be the breadwinners and the drive. It separates it, and therefore people think that they have to rely on each other that way in order to live happily. It's nowhere near that reality.
Damn. Yeah, that's kind of tricky.
Especially when you get into the quantum physics of it all.
It's funny that any one religion to me would believe, feel more than another, or better or superior in any way. Just saying that means you're absolutely not.
Exactly.
It's kind of strange that it's like that.
And it's like that in almost every, at least Christian church that I've studied. I know when I was in church, they always said, we're the one true church. That was the one thing. And then they teach you in your church history classes that the one true church is always the most prosecuted church. And every single Christian church makes a claim to be the most prosecuted. So it's a power struggle for sure.
All the more reason to go this route.
Absolutely. Spirituality.
Or any route but that.
But that, yeah. Organized religion, we can just throw that to the side. Think of all of the incredible and beautiful structures and the people and the cultures and the traditions we would still have if organized religion was not a thing and didn't go and burn them all to the ground. So if you move away from organized religion, you move out of this box of thinking. You no longer have a ceiling on how much you can learn and how much you can grow. And as you kind of explore that path, you find different things that call to you at different times. Like I did witchcraft. I'm now a high priestess. I am studying, I think it's Northern European shamanism. More specifically, Seder, which is a form of Viking magic that has been it's very hard to find information on because it's very, very ancient, very, very old, not a lot of text on it. But the more you get into all of it, more and more will call to you. So
you're going, someone's helping you, guiding you in through this? Is that how I understand it? Like
kind of a point.
Mentor or something?
So I have a lot of spiritual mentors that I look up to. I work with some specifically through coaching programs and things like that I've hired as my coaches to just continue to help myself grow. But then I am a lifelong learner. I love to learn. I read all the time. I'm always studying this stuff. It is like my personality, my hobby, my passion, everything that I could do for the rest of my life has to do with all of this because there is so much to learn. You're never going to stop. You're never going to reach the end of how much you can learn. And so a lot of it comes from me being proactive in my learning and reading and learning the histories and implementing it and practicing it. But also, it's kind of crazy to think you connect with your ancestors. And if you just simply go 10 generations back, you have 1,024 ancestors, just 10 generations back that are on the other side, that are there with all of their wisdom, with their guidance, that you can tap into, who will help guide you. And that's just your blood-related ancestors. We're not talking about step family, adoptive family, like musicians, artists you look up to can be ancestors, passed on friends. Like you put all of these together, there's your higher self that you can connect into as well. And there's so much guidance on the other side that it makes it really easy to continue walking the path.
See, listening to you speak, you can hear how excited you are. You can hear the look forward you have, the excitement for more information. Talking to the other, it's almost repression and sadness, and they got to get to the next Sunday. Every Sunday we got to go. They don't even like it. Not a single one of these people are just enlightened with love and energy to run to these buildings on Sunday because they have to go to them.
Exactly.
It's really weird to hear that. And on the other hand, listening to you speak, you can see it in your face, man. You light up. Kids don't talk about that way about being Christian or to my knowledge being, anything of the Mormon faith. They simply go because they have to go, and they come home and they're kids.
Exactly.
It's pretty sad to see that, how the dramatic difference?
It's really heartbreaking coming from somebody who still has family in the church and whose family still tries to get me to go back to church. It's never going to be something that I'm going to go back to because I found this freedom and this liberation on the other side. And I found that there's power in knowledge. And I found that the Mormon church kind of subliminally teaches you from a young age that if you're a woman, you are automatically at a disadvantage. And even... like, I grew up, my parents were like, yeah, you can be anything you want. Yeah, you want to be a doctor? Yeah, we'll support you in that. But even 2 years ago when I was making more than my fiance, my dad was so concerned that I was going to forever be the breadwinner of the family. But had I been a doctor, I would have always been the breadwinner anyways. So they kind of teach you, as a woman, you're automatically at a disadvantage. You're automatically supposed to be home. And so I think, especially for girls in the church, it's never something that lights us up because it's never something that has benefited us in any way. And when you step outside of that box and you find the things that actually do benefit you and that cultivate healing, because in witchcraft, shadow work is what they call it, healing the shadow part of yourself that you are afraid to show to the light of the world and turning that into a strength is one of the most basic practices that you can do. So it forces you to do a lot of emotional inner healing where the church completely doesn't even really encourage that at all. It just kind of, it promotes circular thinking to bypass the traumas and the experiences that you've had.
It's very narrative-driven thinking
Exactly.
at that. It's very much in a box.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's just very interesting to kind of see, especially when I watch other people deconstruct from the church and step out of that, how excited they get and how animated they get and how much they want to learn. And they're always asking me questions. And that's probably my favorite part about this is because now I've opened up a school of witchcraft and everything so that I can be that person that I didn't have when I stepped out, because in Utah, you don't have a lot of alternative thinkers and alternative spiritualities. It is very much more Mormon and Christian. The majority is that way. And so 6 years ago when I stepped out of my box, there was nobody that I could ask questions to. There was nobody to help me guide me through it. So I kind of I'm self-taught. I had to do it myself. I had to learn from people that were on other sides of the country and things like that. And so now I get to be the person that I didn't have. And they say that that's probably one of the best indicators to your true purpose in life is if you're being the person that you needed, but you didn't have.
I love that, man. I think that's great. Are you getting slack? Are you getting heat from any angle coming at you saying you're anything bad?
Surprisingly, no, actually.
Think you'd be attacked for sure on it, like especially over the internet.
You'd think, and I feel like a lot of people were like that in the beginning. I've talked about my entire spiritual journey on my social media for the last 6 years, so most of the people that are left are pretty used to it, but I have had people where I've put like tarot readings up, and they've made it a point to message me and tell me like they don't believe in that devil stuff, so now they're gonna unfriend me because
right there,
can't.
Devil stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What does that even see? That's interesting
Mm-hmm.
to easily label something that quickly. Automatically ought to say to anybody with any intelligence at all that it's wrong. That label, it's a word. It's like, whoa, hey, calm down here.
Exactly.
That's
it's a word
really,
that we've given a negative meaning to, and it's just the entirety of witchcraft because of the takeover of the Christians. They specifically made it very demonized, and you see that in modern medicine as well, because when they took away the midwives, they took away all of their people who knew how to practice medicine. So when you see women give birth on their backs in a stirrup, a man did that. A man is the one that decided that that was the best way to give birth, even though it's actually not. More better ways to give birth are on your hands and knees or squatting or in more comfortable positions that the mother and women are more natural into. But when you're on your back and you have your legs up like that, your baby is going to push on your tailbone. It's going to push on the pelvic bone, and it is harder for the baby to come out. And that's because they extracted the midwives and brought in male doctors who knew nothing about the female anatomy.
Jeez, it makes total sense. It's really bizarre. Why can we? That's ridiculous.
The patriarchy.
That makes sense. That makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say?
There was just growing up, right? Like, I think a lot of it has to do with like media too, though, right? Because like instantly when I think of witchcraft, I think of The Craft, the movie The Craft, right?
Yeah.
And they, I mean, I guess they showed both sides, right? Because they showed the dark witch and they showed I don't know the term.
The good witch and the bad witch.
I guess so. I guess that's the time. I'm very ignorant to this, right? But is there anything out there? Are there any media outlets that are painting you guys out in, I guess, a more positive light? Because I feel like this is one of them, right? This is a media outlet where it is painting it in for what it is, right? I'm sure just like anything else, there's good with it and there's bad with it. But is there anything else out there that's painting this for what it is?
Yeah, I think there's quite a bit, especially now we're seeing a rise in alternative thinking for the first time in I think our country's history. We have less than half of our population is involved in organized and Christian religions for the first time in history, which is crazy to me. So people are breaking out of that box, and now we're seeing a lot more media come up. Between YouTube and Instagram, there's a ton of spiritual creators on there, as well as TikTok. But my favorite is Gaia, and Gaia is the term for Mother Earth, but it is also like spiritual Netflix is what I call it. It's a streaming channel that you can pay, I think, like $15 a month for or something along those lines. And they have the Joe Dispenza show. If you guys don't know who Joe Dispenza is, he is a neuroscientist. And he talks all about neuroplasticity, how you can literally rewire your brain just with your thoughts and healing your beliefs. So Joe Dispenza's on there. They have a lot of history on spiritual practices, a lot of documentaries on ayahuasca, which I love to watch because plant medicine is huge for me. So I think Gaia is probably my biggest go-to for that because they are so diverse in the content that they carry, and it's video content, which I know a lot of people really love. And it's like extended video content between episodes and movies and all of that. So there are people out there doing some magic and pushing the good name of alternative thinking for us. I
think it's awesome. I really do.
Yeah.
I am so for anything that's against anything normal. Yeah. I always have been. I very much am open to all things that come that are new. It's not even new, but it's I think you understand, right? It's not what's known here. I love that. I think it's very healthy. And I think to shun that away is ridiculous. And anyway, it doesn't matter what topic you talk about. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong.
No.
To have good, you have to have bad. Forgiving, whatever that is to anybody. What's good to me could be completely bad to you. It's all bullshit terms. It's all just, they're words.
Yep. Perspective and polarity. That's very huge.
It's very good, but you can't have you can't have heat without the good. So that's why I wondered, like, that was kind of went back to what I asked before, is if you had, if you're getting any slack from anybody, if they're coming after you, and you'd have to have good and bad. You gotta have
exactly. Both. You'll never appreciate your ideal clients if you don't have your monster clients also.
You wouldn't know otherwise.
Exactly. You wouldn't know which is which. And that is the beauty of the experience of this life, is to experience that duality, those highs and lows. My astrological sign is a Gemini, and we are the twins, and that is the phrase, is to experience the duality in all perspectives, to see both sides and both perspectives. So that's kind of where I just kind of sit and observe life on a lot of different levels, is to just kind of see each other's perspective.
Do any of your tattoos have to do with any of this?
All of my tattoos have to do with everything.
I love it. I love it. What is some of that? What's going on?
This is the Lover's card, which is a tarot card. This is
it's a cool tattoo.
It's pretty awesome. Shout out to Sarah RV at Legacy. She's
beautiful.
Great. But the Lover's card, each zodiac sign has a specific card attached to it. The Lover's card is the Gemini card because it's number 6, I think. And then we have this one, which is the triple goddess symbol. So this represents the mother, the maiden, and the crone.
That's cool.
Which is the 3 different stages of life that as women we go through. The maiden, which is the young and expressive stage where you're kind of experiencing life. The mother, where you get to create life. And then the crone, which is the wisdom, the keeper of the wisdom. And then if we look at... Can I turn? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so this is... I told her I wanted a Child of the Universe tattoo. So that's what the sleeve was themed on. And I told her I wanted my higher self tattooed on my arm. She totally drew it up and everything. And everybody thinks that I got myself tattooed on my arm. Yeah, it's pretty close. But I love it.
She did all of them?
Mm-hmm, yep, she did all of them.
And you're gonna finish the whole arm with same stuff with
Yeah,
more. With
so
more of
probably a lot of flower filler. And
That's
I can't
cool, man.
decide if I want another tarot card because love tarot. Tarot was one of the very first things I got into in witchcraft. So
Explain to people what tarot, like, kind of, it's, if you want,
Yeah.
kind of its origin and date, maybe how far back it is, and just what it is.
yeah, tarot goes back, centuries,
ways.
hundreds of years. I don't even know when it officially started. I do know it was originally practiced by highborn people, people born to wealthy families. And there was a rumor for centuries saying that you couldn't go buy your own tarot deck. You had to have it given to you. And this was kind of the higher classes way of saying, like, you're not allowed access to this information unless I pass my hand-me-downs down to you.
Damn.
That's not accurate. I've bought a lot of tarot decks for myself. I am very much kind of a collector of tarot because I love the individual artwork of each of the pieces. There's 72 cards typically in each deck. Sometimes there's some decks that have more, sometimes less. But in like a traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, there's 72 cards. 12 of them are major arcana, which represents the 12 major themes that we go through in life. We can go through them many times. We can maybe even only go through them once. It just kind of depends. And then the rest are minor arcana, and that kind of represents the different nuances in life and kind of the different specifics. And then as you get deeper and deeper into it, the colors mean things. The way the characters are facing each other across the spread mean different things. I have a deck that I read with pretty frequently that ties astrology into it and has all of the astrological symbols on there, so it makes it easier for me to see. But the colors, the numbers, the specific amount of cups or wands that's on the card, all of that, it's all very significant and symbolic to the message that it has to bring. Each card has a few keywords that are attached to it. However, I tell everybody that tarot is about 30% knowing what the cards mean and 70% being able to use your intuition.
What is it? So it's to help somebody. Why would somebody come to get this?
Tarot has a lot of different uses. A lot of people are like, read my future.
Yeah, there we go.
It's not always that. I never tell people that tarot is going to directly read your future. It gives you possible future outcomes based on the path that you're currently on. However, because you have free agency and you are in control of your own life and destiny, in the quote of, I think it was from Gossip Girl, she says, destiny's for losers, winners make their own fate. And I totally live by that. I stand by that. So you have the power to change your future at any second, depending on the choices that you make. And so it will give you possible outcomes for the path that you're on, but it's never going to be 100% set in stone. It can also give you advice for kind of certain situations that you're in. I always tell people, if you're coming to ask me for a reading about your bad relationship, just leave, because they're not going to be very nice to you. Because each deck also has their own personality. Each deck has a way that they speak through the practitioner. Especially depending on the questions that they ask, there is an attitude that comes out. There is a specific voice, typically when you're tapping into the loved ones of the people who have passed on, that you're reading for. Their attitudes and their kind of like fire or their softness will come through. And so if their guides have been telling them like, hey, this is a toxic relationship, you shouldn't be in this, you need to leave, and they've been getting the signs for it for months and months and months, and then they ask me to do a reading for them so they can kind of get what they want to hear, that everything's going to be okay and it's rainbows and butterflies. It's never like that. They usually come down pretty hard, and they're like, look, we've told you this 15 times. You need to go. Like, you need to go now, and we're going to not tell you this anymore unless you listen. So
the idea is that there's whatever this is talking to you through this deck by the way the cards are revealed and the way they're interpreted. But can they be interpreted different ways, I guess? Yeah.
Absolutely. So it is, like I said, 70% about the intuition of the practitioner. So each person is going to communicate differently with the other side. And when I'm using tarot, it is very much, I am communicating directly with the other side through kind of the significance of the cards, but also through the random intrusive thoughts that pop into my head and things that stick out to me and that I notice that are just kind of out of the ordinary. When I read for people, I always ask them to invite their angels and their guides to sit with them to help them receive the guidance that they need. And then I ask my angels and guides to sit with me to help me facilitate the guidance that they need. So I'm communicating not with the person that I'm reading for. I'm communicating directly with my guides and directly with their spiritual team on the other side as well, so that I can get the most clear form of guidance that I can for them. However, everything is also always going to be clouded by my perspective because we are always human.
Damn. Should we do something?
We can do something.
Should we do something?
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna ask you though, did you meet your husband doing this? And what does he think about this?
It's this. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, so we did not meet doing all of this. He actually is not a practitioner. I've been working with him for a couple of years to kind of just like start rolling the ball a little bit when it comes to like manifestation and the law of attraction, because that's usually where people start, because that's relatively tangible and there's quantum physics that kind of helps confirm that. And so people have an easier time believing in that than they do believing that I can talk to dead people. So that's like a really bold claim versus something that's backed up by science. And as they practice it more, they see that it's real. And you also have what they call the confirmation bias in your brain. So whatever belief you hold, your brain is automatically going to look for things that confirm that belief and discard all of the rest. So that's why belief is the one most powerful thing that you can have in this planet, along with intention. If you believe the intentions that you're putting out there, it's going to happen because your brain is only going to pick up on the things that confirm that belief to yourself.
Subconsciously, yeah, 100%. I believe in that.
Yep, so it's a lot of fun. But we did not meet doing this, but he's getting there. He's mentioned the word manifestation to me a couple times, so I think we're getting somewhere.
And another thing I was going to ask you, like, you're very much free-spirited, I feel, you know?
Very much.
And to be getting married in the next, when are you getting married?
June, yep.
June.
So within the next year, you're getting married. Is it marriage like a religious thing?
Marriage can be. I feel like it really just kind of depends. So my fiance and I have been together since I was 18, actually, so 4 years now. We got together really young. It was very much a fairy tale romance with a lot of challenges. Right at the beginning, we got arrested together. When we turned, so I was like barely 18, 8 months 18. We got arrested together, went through all of the court stuff together. I kind of helped him get his life back on track because I was like, this is not it for me. This is not where I'm supposed to be. So I kind of was like, okay, like now you have to go like enter the real world and do all these, like go be an adult. And the judge came down on us pretty hard and gave us a 2-year no contact order. And so if he got caught with me, he was going to jail for a year.
Holy shit, bro.
Yeah.
What the hell? You probably don't want to talk about what you did, but
well, okay.
what the hell did
I
you
can
do?
Talk about it.
Why that's weird?
Yeah, it's not. It was just a whole thing. So he got caught with like an ounce of marijuana. Nothing crazy, but he had a scale and baggies on him, so he got an attempt to distribute charge. I had my pipe with me, and I believe what had happened, because we went to a rave, I think the weekend before, and my friend had lost some of her party favors, and we didn't know where they went, and they happened to be in my car, which I did not know until the cops decided they were going to search my car. The whole experience was completely traumatic. They did not have probable cause to search my car when we got the discovery back. Their probable cause that they gave was because my car was messy and I just looked like I did drugs. So
that's not good enough.
Yeah, that was their probable cause to search my car. They tried to tell me that my Crystal Light and water bottles were alcohol and wouldn't let a female officer come down to search me, and broke a lot of rules and regulations, I think, because they even had their sergeant or whoever come up and ask me if I had any issues with the way I had been treated that night.
You're like, let me give me a piece of paper.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'll write it all down. At 18, I'm like, I had no experience with police officers being sheltered, and in the LDS religion my whole life, that was not something that I had ever experienced. And So I was just like, no, it's fine. Like, I'm fine. And just the whole thing was just super traumatic. So we had that. Obviously, we were still together for the 2 years we were not supposed to be together. Made it
Allegedly.
If we see you at the drinking fountain, you're going back to jail. What? Fuck.
What? Why?
That's so stupid.
Yeah, so
Whatever, man.
they like searched his house for me on multiple occasions. Like it was a whole
For an ounce of
thing.
marijuana
Yeah.
that we now have legally
Yeah.
more than that in an area. You can it's just sad. It's sad.
It's hard, and they didn't read him his Miranda rights, which normally
That means it's gone.
Yeah, they would have gotten rid of the case, but literally 4 months before we got arrested, they had made it so that wasn't a law anymore.
It is a law.
It's not. It was in Utah.
Yeah.
In Utah, it was abolished in December of 2017.
You're sure it's not a law right now?
2016. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They
You
looked
do
it
not
up.
have to be read your Miranda rights.
Nope, you do not have to be read your Miranda rights to be
I don't know
arrested.
if I believe that.
Look
Are
it
you
up.
shitting me right now?
Yeah, in Utah.
He's gonna look that up. I gotta hear that. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, they used to
Because
just
that
throw
is the
entire
number one
case.
thing. Like, and it's stupid, right? But that's such a thing. That's a thing. Oh, you gotta hear this shit. That is no. That scares me a little bit.
It's crazy. The amount of things that I learned from that experience about the way the
Damn.
police system works and all of that. 'Cause
I believe you too.
Yeah.
You're very well read. I'm not, but that
It's
blows
crazy.
my mind because that I thought was a very like damn near federal thing. You can get anything thrown out just simply by that. It's the right for people, right? It's
Yep.
our right.
It is our right.
And it's so I think it needs to be. This doesn't matter. No, we'll dig that. That's stupid though.
Yep.
So
if you look up
okay, so tarot.
tarot.
Okay, so what is it specifically? What's happening? What is it? Do you do it for? I guess I'm trying to understand what it's even for.
Yeah. So
What's it used for? To
Yeah.
talk to people that have passed.
It can be used to talk to people that have
Okay.
passed. It can be used to access your higher self. So kind of to explain the higher self, when we, in lore and in theory, because nothing is confirmed because people don't go and come back usually and remember.
Right.
But before you came here, you were a soul that had a name, and you were all loving, all knowing. You experienced many lifetimes outside of Earth. Earth, according to like the ancient lore, is the only dimension and the only planet that is the way that it is, where you have to forget who you are to come here to experience the duality and the perspective of life. And so that
And forget when you leave, even when you're just here. It's a blip, and you're gone.
Kind of, yeah. So when you leave, you'll take the experiences and everything that you learned with you.
But you're not gonna remember as you come back.
Yeah, if you come back and you reincarnate, you're not going to remember because there is a veil. You're
Yeah.
going to be hit by that veil.
It's unbelievable.
Exactly. You can't experience this life with true experience and with true curiosity.
With remembering
and
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude, I like that.
Yeah.
I totally believe that.
Yeah. So
100% believe that.
when they sent you to this dimension,
Who's they?
some people call them the Galactic Federation of Light. There's source energy, the universe, whoever, wherever,
Okay.
whenever. But whenever you came here, so your soul is this big, all-loving, all-knowing thing, and you have this physical body that it now has to fit into, and your entire soul does not fit into the physical body. There is only a piece of your soul that fits into this physical vessel so that you can experience this life, but you have the entire rest of your soul who is still all-knowing, all-loving, that just kind of sits with you in life and kind of helps to guide you subliminally if you don't know how to tap into it. So tarot can help you connect to your higher self and to understand what your higher self knows. And connecting to your higher self does so much for you. It helps a lot of people not be so afraid of death because they're kind of getting a glimpse into what's on the other side. It helps people to trust themselves and in their belief in the universe as well a lot more because they're getting guidance directly from that. And so doing tarot to connect to your higher self, if you're not great at visualization or meditation and connecting that way, tarot is a huge way in the physical world where you can get specific messages from them.
Damn. So that would be the two main things, I guess, is the idea would be
kind of the
to
two.
summon or talk to somebody that's passed, or to find
your higher self, to your angels, to your spirit guides, to your inner child. You could talk to pretty much anything that you have the creative imagination for, because if you can think it, you can create it.
Absolutely. Hey, I live by that. Can we do that?
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Seriously?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm super excited. So I don't know how to do anything or what even to do or what, but I'm so down to do whatever.
Let me adjust this so that I can read.
So you guys hopefully you're watching this one. If you're not, maybe it's something to watch or go through the deck, and it's scaring the hell out of me. I'm loving it. What?
Not evil, I promise.
No, I don't. I'm not even. I don't believe in evil. I don't believe in any of
That's
that.
good.
There's no. It's just all whatever.
So I have tarot and oracle cards. I like to read in tandem with both of them because they both kind of give a different perspective.
Okay.
Tarot is very routine, very structured. Each card and each deck means the same. Oracle is very different, where each card and each theme of the deck is going to be different. Each card has a different meaning. It's not uniform at all. So that's kind of why I like them, because they just opens up more interpretations for us.
Yeah, random kind of more.
Yeah. So.
Do you need anything specifically, or are you good to go?
Well, do you want me to do a general reading for your listeners, or do you want me to do a reading for you?
What's more interesting? I don't know. I don't even know what that would.
For who? Junior? I can do that.
Shit.
I can do that.
Here
now,
we go.
do you have a question? That's the next step.
See, that's what I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here. I need to know what I'm actually.
You want to know what you're doing here?
What would be the question? What would be a question?
So open-ended questions are always the best. I don't.
Like an example of.
Yeah. So. A lot of people will just ask for general guidance, like what do I need to know in this moment? There are questions on your career. I always phrase them like if you're trying to get to a specific goal and you want to know how to get to that goal, I always ask like, how can this person reach this goal? And then they'll give you specific steps to follow so that you can hit that. So.
Is Junior on the right path to being a great grandfather?
Junior.
That's a yes or no question, so that is not going to fly.
It's got to be open-ended, bro.
How can Junior be the best grandfather?
See? This shit scares me, bro. That's good shit.
All right.
So, yeah, so I don't know what to ask, bro. I don't know what the hell do I ask. Let's see. Just do a general one.
Okay.
However that works, I'm ready.
I can do that. Let's see.
Because I would think whatever you search for, you find, right? So if I'm asking for something, there's a little more to that. If I'm just, there you go.
Exactly. There's a lot.
Is it colder than shit in here? Are you guys freezing?
Kinda cold, yeah.
I'm gonna turn that thing off real
I'm
quick.
always
While you
cold.
shuffle that, I'm gonna
Okay.
turn that one off.
Cool.
So how many? You got 2 different decks here?
Yeah. So they're both Serena's. Thank you, Miss Serena. You're the best. Because I forgot mine because I'm a forgetful human being and I hate being late, so I was not going to turn around to go get them. But this one is Oracle. So Oracle is the non-uniform, where it is just very open-ended, very interpretive. Each card has a different meaning in every single deck. Versus Tarot, where Tarot, like the 5 of Wands in every deck is going to have the same meaning, where not every deck is going to have like the Diana card, and not every deck is going to have all of like the Mother Mary card and all of these different goddesses and all of that beautiful artwork. That is my favorite thing about Tarot and Oracle, is the artwork is so individualized, and the creators of artwork on these cards do not get enough recognition because it is like a intricate oil painting in a little tiny little card that only us special practitioners get to see. So
That's badass.
I love it. That's why I'm a collector. All right.
Oh, you can
So,
feel it. It's bleeding out of you.
I got a silly question.
All right. Ask
So
away.
there's 72 cards in a deck. I mean, not allegedly, but most of the
For the
time,
most part.
for the most part, there's 72 cards. Will there always be the same cards, but maybe different artwork?
Usually the same cards. So the major arcana cards are almost always going to be the same, where they have like the Fool, which represents like new beginnings, the World, the Wheel of Fortune, all of those, and then the major or the minor arcana, which will have the Wands, the Cups, the Swords, and all of that stuff. I have seen a few decks where there's like an extra major arcana card. Sometimes there's an extra minor arcana section. It's kind of interesting.
So, I mean, you mentioned that the cards have personality.
Mm-hmm.
So do you like talk to them? Do you like say, yo, like we're about to do this thing?
So when I sit down to read, I very much invite my angels and my guides to sit with me. I'm to a point where I'm very attuned and I can feel when they come and sit. I don't know. You probably will be able to, Serena.
Can you feel anything when you come in here? Did you feel anything in this place at all?
Not right when I entered, but as I talk more about activity on the other side, the more they decide to join us because their ears are perking. The veil is thinning as we get closer to Halloween, so their influence definitely comes through a lot more.
What did you feel when I walked in the building?
I felt
Motherfucking gangster.
yes.
Ice Cube starts playing?
Absolutely.
Shit.
I'll say you remind me of the color yellow. You are very bright. You take up a lot of energetic space. When you enter the room, I feel like if your back is turned to you, you're still going to feel the energy that your aura is putting off as you walk in. Just in your face alone, you can see you're a relatively happy human being that promotes happiness and positivity to the people around them. And I think that's huge in this day and age because we live in a world that is so bombarded with negativity. Having people like you is like a pillar of light. You remind me of the like light blue, like a very baby blue kind of color where you're very calming and observant, but also like all-encompassing and very like earthy. You're a Virgo, aren't you?
Holy fuck. What do you think he is? Yes, I'm a fucking Virgo. You're freaking me out.
I only know that because I talked to you about that the last time we were here, so don't let me
What do you
scare
think? This
that
beautiful. You nailed him, by the way, like perfectly. That was
I'm like, damn, do I need to get, I don't own a yellow shirt. I should.
He's always in these beautiful color. You nailed him. 100% nailed it. What do you think his sign is?
Oh.
I'm curious. Because he so is.
I feel like I get a lot of Leo vibes from you, but I'm not very good at guessing the astrology.
Maybe, I think a part of me is maybe Leo, but no, I'm a
pretty sure he's
Cancer.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
he's
The
a Cancer.
majority of my friends are Cancers.
Yeah,
so.
Cancers is where it's at.
Everybody that works for this
nursery.
facility.
C's in the building.
See that? You see he's throwing this. Everybody in our circle that's tight are Cancers.
Mm-hmm. Cancers are
Or
dope.
Pisces.
Pisces are pretty great, too. Shout out to Serena.
Shout out to
Love
Serena
her.
and Dupree.
And Dupree. I don't know. Yeah, Pisces are very interesting, very in the depths of everything, very emotional.
Oh, they're intense people, for sure.
Yep. It's if they're really bad, they're really bad. If they're really good, they're really
Yep.
good. Very high highs, very low lows with
Absolutely.
Pisces. Cancers. So like I said, a lot of my really close friends are Cancers. They're the nurturers, the motherers.
They're the lover beans. They're beautiful.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
What do you think? What do you see with that color of that beautiful woman right there?
Oh, let's
What color do you see with this? You say I'm light blue, he's yellow. What is she? Black.
Magenta.
She's black. She's so beautiful. We're talking about my wife, by the way. What do you see? Do you see anything with that beautiful
I feel
woman?
like I see a lavender with you. Very calm, very soft, very to yourself a little bit, in your shell until you get to know people more and then you open up. I feel like you are very explorative in specific things and creative, and I want to say I get this sense of like royalty or like regalness, very like just like royal bloodline almost.
Let me be real here. You don't really know her that well. What's freaking me the fuck out right now is how scary that is. That is beautiful.
Accurate?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Absolutely accurate.
Good. Well, I'm glad.
Her middle name's Tomina. It's like a goddess of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She's a. Yeah, that's so cool. I want to do this. Let's do this.
All right.
I'm freaked out. I love it. You nailed him so scarily real. Like when he walked, you're like yellow, and it was just cool, man. You totally nailed that. You totally nailed that.
I'm glad. I get nervous sometimes because I'm like, I'm gonna be wrong.
No, you're not. That's beautiful. You crushed all of that.
You can't be wrong about a vibe, though.
Yeah,
Like,
you really can't.
No.
You
Vibes
can
don't
feel
lie.
people. You can feel people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Now, if we're going to do this, I need you
What do I need to do?
to invite your angels and guides to sit with you to help you receive the guidance that you need the most in this time.
How do I go about something like this?
You-
I just think these things.
Yep, exactly. Close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and just ask.
To myself, correctly?
I mean, you can say it into the mic if you want. They hear you always.
Then they can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. I've done so.
All right. Let's get into this. Now we're just doing general.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't really understand what to do. So
That's okay.
or what I'm even doing. That's all.
Yeah, this is how it starts.
This would be like me trying to teach you how to TIG weld. You'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what the
I
fuck?
have no idea what that is, so
Yeah, you'd follow procedure, whatever. That's
Yeah.
all I'm trying to attempt to
that's
do.
fine. I got that for you. Let's see. What
Very,
guidance
very open
does
though.
Junior need in this moment and in this time and place?
Is there a specific amount or number or time, or should I not have spoken?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're
Is
fine.
there a thing to that? Or are you just shuffling it well? Okay.
And when they jump out,
Sorry,
then
I'm-
that's-
I don't know.
you're fine. You're
I'm
fine.
excited.
Ask all the questions you want to know.
I don't know if I should be quiet. I just didn't know what to do here. So as you did that, 2 cards come out.
Two.
That's a thing.
That is.
Did you release them, or do they do that
They
themselves?
jump out themselves. That's how it goes.
Holy hell.
That's why it's kind of so freaky sometimes because I'm not picking these cards. They're popping out. Oh, you got the death card.
Okay, I gotta go.
All right. Well.
Here we go.
Start with
And
that.
it flopped out face up,
Oh,
by the way.
yeah.
That's
Face
great.
up for sure.
Yep, I'm all about that. Here we go.
It is completely a. Oh, this is actually gonna be really interesting.
Imagine that.
Ooh, one of my favorites too, Knight of Swords. Okay, and I'm gonna pull you some oracle cards as well, so that we have those in tandem. Oracle, I do a little bit differently. I'll only shuffle 4 times because my hands are too small for oracle decks.
Yeah,
So-
they're bigger, huh?
Yeah, they are a lot bigger. I have to find specific tarot decks that fit my hands so I can shuffle the regular way. And then I'll pull off the bottom, whichever cards are on the bottom.
Can you trade them like Pokemon?
Nope, you do not want to trade them like Pokemon.
I'll bet you'd be cursed, bro. See, that's
never
his
know.
yellow sunlight coming out.
Right.
Funny boy. He's that's who he is. Don't do, oh, good boy.
Kali and Mother Mary. These are the 2 cards that I showed on camera when you were taking pictures.
What the fuck? That freaks me out a little. Here we go.
All right, so let's take a look at this. We have the Moon card,
Okay.
the Knight of Swords, the Death card, and then we have Kali, the Mother Mary, and Arakura. I do not know how to pronounce that. So basically what I'm seeing for you is a lot of growth coming up soon, which will probably have something to do with you being a grandpa here soon.
Probably.
A lot of growing, a lot of experiencing. The moon represents the feminine. You're having a granddaughter, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Very correct.
So you are having a granddaughter. The moon represents the feminine. It also represents the unknown, which you were talking about earlier. The unknown is fearful because people don't know the unknown. So the moon also represents intuition, understanding and using your intuition, the dark side of the moon, kind of secrets and just kind of the inner work, the emotional work, the shadow self part of you. And then we have the Knight of Swords, which is fast messages, fast paced. If it's a knight, they're typically very quick because they're on a horse. They're moving quickly towards something. So we have that. And then the Death card. I'm sorry. You only have a year to live, Junior.
Perfect.
I'm just kidding.
I've been waiting for this.
I'm kidding.
I'm wide open to it.
So the Death card represents, it's very much Phoenix energy. It represents breaking down and like the death of the current ego, the death of this experience that you're having right now, while also simultaneously rebuilding from the ashes of who you once were. So the death card is one of my favorites for that reason.
I have goosebumps from head to toe.
Good.
This is weird.
So I feel like there's significance in that. Why is there significance in that for you?
That all of what you just said is more significant than anything I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, that's good.
Because I am the fastest human that lives in everything I do and
Yep.
touch. Let's
I
get
can
clear
see it.
here. You do not know me.
No. I've
You
met you
just
one
don't.
other time before now.
For 5 minutes.
Yep, exactly.
That thing's very accurate. I'm just going through what I tied to. I'm sure
See?
anybody can tie to any card. I'm certain
anybody
of this.
can,
But
tie to anything.
All of those things, ego thing, death, all of is exactly what I'm going through. That's why I turned and looked at them, because they know what I'm doing right now with what I am all about, and it is. I'm in mad vulnerability mode of just letting everything be what it is, and I'm just going through a total new thing with who I am, long before knowing about grandchildren, long before really crushing what I thought was what, and just letting things be what they are. So that all is very accurate to me.
See, and it's so funny because that really is probably the most basic part of the reading, is just kind of feeding you what the meanings of the cards are. But as we get further into it, as you see this woman in the moon, she's looking away from everybody else. Which tells me that there is probably some type of underworkings in your subconscious that you are ashamed to bring forward, something that you don't really talk about very often, that soon, because we're quick here, is going to be brought to light. It is going to be healed. It is going to burn to the ground, and you're going to grow from that experience finally after so many years of it being hidden in the darkness, being kind of shoved away and not thought about. You're going to have this experience with this part of your ego, with this trauma or this specific thing that happened. She's looking away, which means that you don't really want to look at it. He is also looking in the same direction that she is, which means this fast-paced healing that's going to come through is having to do with this subconscious inner working. And then as you look at the death card, he's looking right at you, to just signify that this is directly for you. This is directly about you, and about all the things that you're going to be able to grow from this. Like I said, very much Phoenix energy. I resonate very heavily with the death card because a lot of my chart is influenced by Pluto and Scorpio, which in astrology also represents the Phoenix energy, the death, the rebirth. So a lot of my life is centered around themes like that. The death of the ego, constantly rebuilding myself, hence why the deep inner workings of my emotions and healing those on an emotional level is so huge. Another thing that I think is significant in this is your living life in the present moment. That is very Knight of Swords energy. Very taking things as it is. Knight of Swords, so swords represents intelligence and learning, and so you are probably a quick learner. Fast to pick things up. Do you have ADHD or ADD?
Next question. I don't know the terms, but oh yeah, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
I
don't believe in the word, so.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
Diagnosis.
It's a label.
Diagnosis, no. I have no diagnosis of this, but absolutely I do 20 million things at one time.
Yep, so that is very much Knight of Swords energy. I'm willing to bet you probably like to pick up a lot of projects and not finish them right away and then start on different projects. Yep. Story of my life. I do the same thing. Yep. So
that's how I feel I learn. It's excitement to me. That is so exciting to me. Yep. I don't get bored with them. It invigorates me. I love it.
Yeah.
And then I love to come back and finish it up in a couple. I love that. It keeps me in a loop of being busy.
Exactly. Because that's kind of how I am with a lot of things, is I'll start something and then I'm like, ooh, this new idea. And
shiny
I'll put
thing
that on the back burner. Exactly. Squirrel.
Totally me.
Exactly how it goes. So that's very, very much the Knight of Swords energy. Do you have anything in your life right now that you're trying to create, that you're trying to bring into the physical from an idea?
Everything.
Everything, but what?
Good God. We'd have to name 7, everything, like these businesses. I mean, this show, I'm just trying to grow everything.
Everything.
Absolute everything in my life is everything's here and it's happening. I'm not trying. Yeah, there are a lot of things. Everything. I'm constantly doing that.
So I'm going to ask another question for
Okay.
you. Move that up. Okay, so the question is, how can Junior bring his ideas into the physical world? The best way for Junior to bring his ideas into the physical world. That's actually really good.
Oh boy.
Okay, so this is kind of where the advice part comes into play because
'Kay.
now I can ask specific. Ooh, actually, this
Don't
is
do
really
that. Don't
good.
don't do those. Don't let's don't do that.
Oh, I'm really
Jesus,
excited.
I'm all worked up.
All right, so the
Ooh,
pentacles.
oh, that's not good.
No, it's all great.
You don't want to hear that at the doctor. What
It's
the
all
fuck?
great.
Okay.
It's all absolutely great.
Okay.
So the King of Pentacles, you have 2 pentacles, okay? Pentacles represents the physical. It represents monetary gain, prosperity, abundance, all of that. And so just in that you have two pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles, if you look at this, represents complete financial abundance, prosperity, and fulfillment. Financial freedom, time freedom, all of that is right centered in this card. So this is your end game right here. And then you have the Strength and the King of Pentacles. Let me pull up King of Pentacles.
It's kind of weird a little bit.
It is.
Finding that a little accurately, scarily.
Yeah, it's really, this is really cool because
It's beautiful.
especially with her not knowing you, this whole process, just seeing it, nothing feels dark.
She doesn't know me at all. She doesn't.
No.
It's just weird. It's magical. The word weird means magical. I say weird a lot because
okay.
it means magical. Anyway.
Magical is a good thing because magic is literally just manipulating energy. That's literally all it is.
Well said.
So let's see. We look at the King of Pentacles, and this also represents specific success, ambition, and security. You are an ambitious human being. You're looking for security, I'm assuming, which is why you have so many different business ventures. That I'm assuming time freedom is really important to you, being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, because of this Knight of Swords here. And having the financial freedom to also do whatever you want, whenever you want is, I'm assuming, really, really important to you. Is that accurate? Yeah.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate.
Somebody once told me when I was a child that the definition of wealth is time freedom, wealth freedom, and health freedom. So those are what I strive for in my life. I feel like that would align very well with you as well. The King represents being reliable, which might also tie into your Knight of Swords. So kind of staying on track and a little bit more focused on one business at a time until you feel like you're at a decent place in that business to continue on the other one. I know for myself, I like to bite off a lot more than I can chew. When I do that, I never do anything.
You're
to the
telling me
best
to
of my
calm
ability.
down. I got it.
Yeah, just a little
Focus.
bit.
Got it.
Focus, calm down.
That's
really
real. That's real. Fuck
Yep.
this. I hate this shit.
build that skill, build the knowledge base, and just make sure that you are handling the practical matters of your businesses. You want to make sure that those are always handled. But where the King of Pentacles is an earth sign, this is very much Virgo sign. Virgos, I know you guys are super perfectionists. So this is also super perfectionist, very nitpicky about everything. So just kind of ground into yourself. Understand that this entire creative process that you're going through with the moon is a learning experience, that you're building the skill, and it doesn't require you to have all of the skill at this specific moment. And to just trust yourself. Again, ground into your roots, be reliable, be steady, be consistent on everything, which I'm sure you're already doing, but you just want to make sure these are the big business practices that you want to take, as well as being very level-headed and grounded when people come to you with issues about things. Customer service, I feel like, is a huge thing. I come from a very big customer service background, but making sure that you have that level head and that trustworthy reputation is going to make or break these businesses for you. Then we have the Strength card. Do sunflowers mean anything to you at all?
They're cool as hell.
No, like significance though? That's okay. It's okay. If
I don't know.
I was just curious.
Not that I know of, other than I think they're super cool.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So the Strength card we see, so in the King, he's looking forward at you, right? So this represents you. This is who you need to be. The Strength card is looking towards the Ten of Pentacles, which is who you want to be. This is where you want to be sitting eventually, who is also looking straight forward at you.
Gotcha.
The Strength card is looking towards that. So the Strength is kind of finding that inner drive, that inner strength, but also being courageous and brave at the same time. Courage is something that is hard to come by in these days and age. A lot of people think that courage is like pushing somebody out of the bus or like out of the moving busway or like all of these different things that are really like big dramatic acts. But sometimes courage, the best thing you can do to have courage is to take that leap of faith into the one thing that you have been too scared to do for who knows how long. For me, that was starting my business. I did not want to be that person on social media that was like, hi, I have a business. I'm going to promote my business every single day on this social media page. And I just kind of was like, at this point, fuck it. Like, this is what I want to do with my life. This is where I want to go. And I took that leap of faith, and it's been nothing but great for me. And so sometimes it's just little courage like that. Whatever you don't want to do right now is exactly what you need to be doing.
That's what I say that all day to every human alive.
Yep. So that's
I live by them very words.
There you go. So whatever you don't want to do, whatever you're scared to do, whatever is hidden in the shadows that you maybe haven't admitted to anybody else that you don't want to do, that you are scared to do because of some perceived outcome. Because remember, fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is a made up reality that you are living in before the situation happens. And so taking that step of courage is all about telling yourself, like, what if it works out? Let's not play the what if game on, like, what if every worst case possible scenario happens to me, but what if every single best case scenario happened to me? What about this? Like, start believing in those things, believing in yourself specifically. And I get very alpha male energy from this card. I get a lot of alpha male energy from you too. You are very much meant to be a leader, which is also very characteristic of a Virgo. Very leader, very great with communication because you are Mercury ruled, just like how I'm Mercury ruled. Our ruling planet is Mercury, but that is kind of where you want to go, making sure you're reliable, trustworthy, steadfast, all of those king things. You want to be the just leader and the just king of your businesses for the people that are coming to you for the services that they need. So all of that will eventually wind you up at the Ten of Pentacles, which will give you the abundance and the prosperity that you so desire. And then as we look at the oracle cards, it's funny because these all kind of tie in together. As you look at Kali at the top, endings and beginnings. This is Phoenix energy. This is the end of whatever you are going through, the end of the emotional trauma, the darkness, the dark days that you've been living through. Kali, just like the death card, just like Pluto, just like Scorpio, is very much destructive energy. It might feel painful at the beginning when you are working through these like weeds in your subconscious and like working through these traumas that you didn't know that you still had. As you're going through all of that, it's going to seem very like the world is kind of crashing down a little bit and like everything is not making sense. And then all of a sudden you're going to rise from the ashes. A new person that has a lot more patience, a new person that has a lot more focus, a new person that has a lot more drive and passion and understanding of what their purpose is in this life. Then we look at Mother Mary. Expect a miracle. So as you do the inner work, you're going to see these traits come through more, and you're going to see things fall into place that you would have never seen coming prior to that moment, that you would have never been like, okay, I'm going to set it up this way, and this is our strategy to get to here. It is going to be something that completely blindsides you, and it goes into one of my favorite mantras to ever repeat, this or something better. You want this or something better, and the universe is going to give you something better in a way that you're never going to be able to see coming. So there's that, and then you have the Arakura, which represents blossoming. This is emotional blossoming. This is you opening up on a whole lot of levels. I feel like especially as men in this society, emotions are very discouraged in a way, especially subliminally. a lot of men have a hard time tapping into their deep emotions and their true emotions and their trauma and all of this because the masculine is productive and assertive and all of these other things, and it's not deep and emotional. And so I see a lot of emotional blossoming in this specific reading. I see a lot of emotional healing, which also, again, ties back in with the death card. And a lot of patience and just growing within yourself. This is an era of growth. We're moving from the Piscean era into the age of Aquarius, which is all about innovation. And in order to innovate and in order to be a new society and have every single one of us contributing and participating to this more humanitarian society, it requires each and every single one of us to heal the traumas, fix the traumas, get rid of all of that old crap that our parents used on us that created the traumas and not do that, and to change the storylines, to change the paradigms, and that's how the society will change. You have a very specific role in that because you are somebody who helps others express their creative liberty, their creative freedom through tattoos and all of that. As that culture rises, we're seeing a lot more self-expression with people. We're seeing a lot more people stepping into who they are, who they want to be, and you are a direct facilitator of that. So as you blossom more in your emotional healing, as you dive into your emotional healing in the depths of your subconscious and what is actually there and what actually haunts you, and as you get rid of that, it's going to open up way more room in your life for these unexpected blessings, because if you're full, the universe can't send you anything. If your inbox is full, you don't have room for anything else, and you're not going to get what they're sending you. So clearing all of that out, you're going to get the unexpected blessings. You're going to get those new beginnings. You're going to get that 10 of Pentacles, abundance and prosperity. And it all starts with the emotional healing of the moon.
Damn. Did you guys see that shit? Hear that? Jesus.
So there we go. There we have it.
Wow. That was intense. Very interesting, to say the very least.
The very least.
That's incredible.
It's crazy how it all works.
It couldn't be more spot on, accurate, unbelievably accurate with, I'm certain everybody could tie things to these things. I'm certain of it, but that's just weird how it's lining up. That's exactly actually what's happening with me. All of what's happening, what you just did, is actually happening. It's all happening right now.
Right now. Mm-hmm.
And that's what you said, right? It was a present thing. That's just creepy cool.
It's so crazy. Do you have a grandmother or a mother that has passed on that used to have a perm with gray hair at any point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very gentle, very sweet, loving lady.
Uh-huh.
Yep, that's who's coming through in the personality of these cards.
Okay.
Whoever that is to you.
Okay. That's interesting.
Because this was a very gentle reading. This is a very soft, nudging, encouraging, like, hey, you need to do this, but I'm not going to be too fiery with you, because if I'm aggressive with you, you're going to push back and not do it. It sounds like they know this from experience, but they are coming through very, very strong, very gently for you. Did you feel them come in at all? Because I felt them come in.
I don't know.
Feel the density or anything?
I just got scared here.
Yeah, scared.
I don't know what to do. This is a Vince Lords thing. I'm tripping out here. I'm scared. Stop it.
There's no reason to be scared.
I'm not scared.
I mean, did you cross her in this life? Did you upset her? Did
No.
she have a reason to haunt
I just
you?
don't know what I feel. I don't know what I feel. To sit and say, yes, I can feel it. I don't know, man. I just love it. I think it's so cool. I just feel everything's different. Mm-hmm. Everything's different. Everything's just happening.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all very scary, accurate.
Well, if you feel somebody give you a random hug and there's nobody there, that's who it is. Or a tight press on your shoulders or your hands. That's going to be who it is.
Interesting.
Just so that you're aware.
Okay. Well, why is that so scary?
Why is it so scary?
I don't know.
The unknown.
That's the unknown. That's all it is.
What was grandma's name?
Lois.
I took care of a Lois once in a while back in my
Lois.
DNA days.
Lois Rogers. Yep.
I don't think her.
My mom's mom.
Very gentle, she seemed like a very just coddly, adorable, soft little energy, and I love it. Those are my favorite.
She's
that
cool.
come through.
That's cool. That's weird. And then I wear my grandpa. He's right here.
Ah.
So he's on my necklace, and he's in a picture behind us. I was wondering if that's who was going to rock and roll through there. He's probably scared.
It's usually the mother figures that come through the
He's
most.
partying over there. He don't care.
Sure.
Yeah, I wear my grandpa all day. That was my best friend. So if anybody ever talked to me, I would love that guy to say something.
Yeah. Someday, I mean, I can ask to channel him specifically.
That'd be cool.
One day.
Yeah, he's cool.
Awesome. Well.
Wow. That was something else. What's that? What are those laying
These
there?
are just the same.
Okay.
Same cards.
I thought it was something that jumped out, and it was
Nope.
like, oh my God, now
Just
you.
stacking them up.
That was wild, dude.
This is exactly why I love doing this. A lot of times I actually don't read vocally very often for people. I read in like a PDF format because my gifts through my astrological chart are literary. And so I get a lot of messages come through as I'm writing down the meaning that I'm receiving. And I'm very clairaudient. So when they talk about like different like psychic gifts, clairaudient is through sound. And then there's like clairsentient, which is just all knowing. There's clairvoyant, which is through vision, and they have a whole bunch of other ones. But clairaudient is definitely what I am. I hear my messages from people, and I've been like that my entire life. So they all run through my head.
Have you done any readings for the community?
So I do quite a bit. So I do have my school of witchcraft that I own, that I facilitate for people. So it's only $5 a month at the moment. And I do a lot of tarot readings in our Facebook group on there. I do a lot of tarot readings on my Instagram at shelby.nye.co, I think is what it is. So I do a lot of free ones just on like reels on there, like 40-second tarot readings for the general collective. I do just a lot in our Bad Witch Club group. So yeah, I do a lot.
But when I'm talking about community, I'm talking about like the world, right? Have you done? Is that a thing where you can look? You can ask an open-ended question for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Have you done any of those recently?
Yep. So collective readings are very common, especially in like the people who do them on YouTube, and just like recorded videos typically will be a collective reading. For my school, it's like I have a lot of different students in there, so I can't read specific to each one. So I'll read for that collective group. If I read for the collective whole, I've done readings for like the different zodiacs. So if your sun sign is in Aries, this reading is for you. Or if your sun sign is in Virgo, this reading is for you. There's a lot. I haven't done a collective one in a long time. I really probably should here shortly because the world is getting crazier and crazier every day.
Which is on the other side of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness is on the other side of that.
Exactly. Right now, we're about to experience our...
Very unstable, which is good.
Yeah.
That means we're ready to rock and roll.
It's going to be kind of crazy for the next 2 years. We're about to experience our Pluto return as a country. Pluto moves so slowly that we, in our lifetimes, will never see Pluto back in the exact same spot as when we were born. But our country will see Pluto in the exact same spot as July 4th, 1776. And that is coming, I want to say February of next year. And when that happens, Pluto being the planet of destruction and chaos and breaking down the old and rebuilding the new.
The death card, if you will.
Exactly, the death card, if you will. That is going to hit in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn represents governments, structure. Are you a Capricorn?
That's mama.
I could see it.
Oh,
I could
she's,
see
yeah,
it.
through and through.
Yeah, so government, structure, all of that is going to get hit with these destructive forces of Pluto next year because this is not the system that we need to be in. We're not growing from this. So our country is going to experience a lot of destruction and rebuilding from the ashes. But once you rebuild, it's going to be, again, like the phoenix. You're going to be better, stronger, and it's going to be a better world for everybody to live in.
Thought of it in the same way as a forest fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the most destructive, scary thing you will ever see. You don't want homes to get burnt, but letting mountains burn is the healthiest thing in the world for them. As they regrow, they're more plush than they ever. So it's the same
The soil
idea.
is more fertile.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Everybody tries to stop it all. If it's not going to hurt anything, let it go.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it just, man, it make it a stopping point somewhere, I guess. I don't know. It's the same idea, though.
Exactly. It might be
It's more
painful
plush.
in the moment, but once you get to that other side, I mean, what do they say in Toddlers and Tiaras? Pain is beauty. Like, beauty is pain. Like, you have to go through the pain first.
It's yin and yang, man.
Exactly.
It's the Alan Watts work. It's both sides
Love
of it.
Alan Watts.
I
You
do
know what
too.
the yin and yang actually is? The divine masculine and the divine feminine. So
Yes.
now we're making a circle all the way back to the beginning.
Yes.
It all ties together.
It's exactly what I love that work. I love his work very much.
Was any of this when you first started and you really are starting to find your next level in yourself? Did you ever have that reaction like Junior had, where it's like, oh shit, like this is real shit?
Yeah, so the story of actually how I discovered witchcraft was my moment where I was like, somebody needs to check me into the psych ward because I'm going insane. I was practicing with spirituality, just kind of didn't really know what I believed for a long time. And then I think it was 2017, so 4 years ago. I dabbled in astrology prior, like the law of attraction, manifestation, all of that, but never witchcraft until 2017. 2017, it was around Halloween. It was October. I was working at Wayfair, and their office in Ogden has this little creek that runs through the back of it. And if you remember, the veil starts to thin in October. And I was sitting in my car, like vaping on my lunch break or something by the creek. It's like October, so all the reeds are dying, like everything looks kind of dead. There's like this pine tree sitting right there that's like kind of dead, and I like look up from my phone for like half a second, and I see this girl with black hair in a white dress standing in front of me, just like looking at me in my car. And by the time I did a double take, like she was gone. And
Look at my goosebumps. That
Yeah.
freaks me out.
I was absolutely like, oh my fucking God, I'm
Wow.
going insane. I'm
Wow.
going crazy. Somebody needs to check me in. And then after like 3 days, I'm a Googler. I Google everything. And like my spirit guides know that. I'm sure they know that because this is how they send me messages for everything. But I Googled exactly the picture that I had seen. This girl in a white dress, very pale girl, dark hair, white dress. And I click on the first like listing that came up, and it showed this Tumblr article, and I remember the page loaded so slowly, and as this picture loaded down to the pine tree, the reeds, and the girl, everything was exactly what I had seen like 3 days before, standing right in front of me. Pine tree, reeds, girl, everything was in that photo. And so I read the blog post that it was about, and it was about the goddess Hecate in Greek mythology, which represents the goddess of ghosts, the goddess of witchcraft, the goddess of the underworld, the goddess of darkness, the goddess of the unknown, kind of. And so that I took as a direct call that this is something that I need to explore.
Oh, like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
scary, though, huh?
It was terrifying.
Damn. So that moment on, you're like, yo, I'm in. Like,
Yep.
I got to get into
Yeah,
this.
balls deep.
What was your
all the
next
way.
move? What was your next, like, how did you just started
Researching.
researching?
Learning as much as I could, reading all the books, everything. And now that I've implemented everything and I've done it for so many years, it's like I saw Hecate will come to visit me once every October. I'll see her at least once.
Is she something we can see?
She's something I can see. I don't
If
know.
we type it in, is it on Google?
Oh, yeah. If you, it's you can either spell it with a K or a C, but it's Hecate.
There it is.
You see the triple moon sign on that card?
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
I see. Yeah, that's what you have tattooed on you.
Mm-hmm.
So she's the boss. This girl is no joke.
Yep. She represents the maiden, the mother, and the crown.
She's the shit.
She's amazing. Absolutely love her. One of my patron goddesses for forever. I owe a lot of the learning that I've done to her. And like I said, she'll pop in every October just to be like, hey, how you doing? Just making sure you're good.
That's so creepy cool, bro.
It's interesting. And now we get a lot of visitors in our house now. Specifically, there is a little black cat we have two real cats. But there's a little black cat that is not a real cat that runs around our house that I will see all the time. And there have been times where I thought I was going to kick one of my cats, and so I like stumbled because I thought I was going to trip over them. Nothing there. Nothing.
Do your cats react to this?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're
We've had
usually
another
pretty
show
calm.
we talked to. This stuff scares the shit out of me. This is Brooke had this stuff happening. A cat reacting.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
They're not. I mean, they're pretty calm about it usually because they can sense whether or not they're friendly spirits. I think 2 Octobers ago, I had an experience with some spirits who knocked all of my shelves of all my crystals and anything that I held near and dear to my heart in terms of spirituality, all my tools, everything, off my walls, like directly knocked them off my walls, shattered a whole bunch of my crystals, and I lost it. And so after that, I have house rules for all of my visitors that come to my house, and I let them know I'm the boss, and 1, stay out of my bedroom. 2, don't touch my shit. 3, be nice. 4, you're welcome to stay as long as you want. If you break any of the other rules, I'm getting the sage and you're fucking leaving. Like, bye. So you have to be kind of like the strong arm with some of them because they will be mischievous. They will be kind of like, oh, how far can I push their boundaries? And
so that wasn't an evil thing. That was just somebody dicking around.
Yeah, exactly. So it's got to this point where the first people I learned to set boundaries with were the spirits in my house.
Long before somebody alive, right in your face.
Long before.
I love that.
Do you, the spirits from your husband's side, do they come around?
Yes. So actually, before I got into witchcraft, he had a friend that passed away in the Davis County Jail about a year before I had met him. And when we were afraid that he was going to go to jail, I was very concerned that he was going to have a hard time being in the same jail that his best friend had died in. And I remember going through all of this stuff, and his friend, who I had never met once in my life, his name is Dom, he came to me in a dream to let me know that everything was going to be fine. Like, he wasn't going to go to jail. If on the off chance he did, like, his spirit would be there to make sure that he was okay and that he was protected. And so he came through really strong for me. I didn't tell anybody about that dream for like a year and a half because I was like, this is weird. Like, I don't want to stake a claim to somebody that I never knew and like feel like I'm attention seeking, but he definitely came through. He comes through a lot for me, as well as occasionally his great grandpa will come through for me. We share a birthday. So we're pretty connected on that front, and I did meet him before he passed away. So occasionally he'll come through. I've learned that if they died younger, they're more active in this realm than if they died older, because I fully believe that the people who died too young in this world have work to do on the other side to usher in the new paradigm and to bring in the new age of Aquarius, but to influence from the outside in instead of the inside out. So I feel a lot more of my friends that passed away early in life. They're here way more often than any of my great-grandparents or anybody who lived a long life.
That makes total sense to me. Mm-hmm. It really does.
It's crazy.
That is, man, did you have something else?
Do you ever not listen to them? Like, is there something they're telling you that you're like, no, I'm not. Like, if they were like, yo, don't marry this dude. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So there are definitely times in my life where I've been like, I don't know. Usually now I've learned my lesson in not listening to them. So if it's a big ask of me, I'll ask them like, okay, send me a sign if this is really what I need to do in like the number 888 or in this number or in this person or something along those lines. I ask them for a sign. If they give me the sign, then I do it. Strictly because when I was 16, the very first time I had an experience actually like hearing a voice. Like, I used to hear voices whispering to me when I'd fall asleep when I was little. I still do sometimes, but I can like never make out what they're saying because the second I start to focus on them, they stop talking. And then once I start to fall back asleep, they start talking again. But when I was 16, I was driving home on 2000 because I grew up in Clinton. And you know where Jiffy Lube is? Mm-hmm. Or Les Schwab. It's Les Schwab. That's right there. Mm-hmm. That intersection, you know, traffic gets so backed up on 2000 at 5 o'clock. I'm like driving. It's like backed up to that light. So I stopped. And right before I went through the light, I heard somebody say, turn left here. You'll get home faster. And I was like, yeah, I'd get home faster. And then I was like, but I'm not going home. So why do I need to do that? And so I just kept going. And then 10 seconds later, as I'm stopped, this lady, I'm like 3 weeks 16, don't even have my plastic license yet, still paper. And this lady hit me going 45, like didn't slow down, nothing, hit the back of me, shoved my car into the truck in front of me, blew up my radiator, literally accordioned my car. And yeah, it was a whole thing. So after that, I've just learned to listen.
You're like, hello, I can hear you.
Yeah, like, hi, okay. Like, I learned my lesson on that one. I will future warnings from this point
Does it
forward.
happen often? Do you hear these things often?
Not warnings like that. No, not that clear. But when I do card readings and things like that, I have specific images that flash or specific thoughts that didn't come from me that will come through in the voice of whoever is coming through. And so that's a big part of my intuition.
What was the last reading that you did that you really got emotional over?
Usually, so occasionally when I do readings, people's family members will come through very strongly with emotions or like things that need to be said outside of the card reading, but things that need to be said that they didn't get to say in their time here on Earth. And I did a reading for, I think there are two that come to mind really heavily. There's one of my friends, she was pregnant at the time, and I did a reading, and her grandmother came through to tell her how incredible she was going to be as a mother and how she was sitting up there with the spirit of her baby at that time, making sure that she was prepared to come into this world and making sure that she was so loved and knew how amazing her family was going to be. And so I get a lot of that with people who are pregnant, with people who are expecting babies. Their family members will come through very heavily and be like, everything's going to be fine. Like, they're here with me. They're going to be an amazing spirit. You're going to do so great. All of these worries that you have, they can just fade away because you don't even need to think about them. They're going to be extraordinary for you. You're going to be extraordinary for them. There's no reason for you to worry about that. I think the second one that comes to mind, I did for somebody that I worked with previously. And I think the reason why it had such an impact on me, because I asked if she knew anybody on the other side that was a very fiery, spitfire, aggressive type of energy, because that's the way the message of the cards was coming out, was very aggressive. And I was seeing this like fiery, like red hair kind of, and she sent me a voice message back and was like crying in her voice message, like telling me that I just got to meet her mother. And even now it makes me so emotional just like thinking about it, because I get that pleasure to be that like bridge to the other side for people. And I don't know, it's incredible. I would not change a thing.
Okay, I was going to ask, does it ever overwhelm you or make
No.
you feel like it's heavy for you? You're able to shake it and you love it. You're okay with
Yeah,
all of
so I do a lot of grounding and cleansing after. It does absolutely drain my energy because I am so focused, and my energy is not here in my body and it's totally grounded into the earth, but it's up in the etheric planes. It's talking with beings that are not here on this physical level. So it is exhausting. It's very draining. But at the same time, like I wouldn't change a thing. Like, this is my personality. This is my purpose. This is absolutely what I was here to do. In my chart, there's like 7 different placements that say that I should teach spirituality. And so here I am.
You need a podcast immediately.
I've been thinking about it. I've been
Don't think about
considering
it. Don't think about it.
Courage, take the leap.
You're doing it. You're doing one. You need
Absolutely.
a show immediately.
I got one last question for you. So we've talked about people. You've been able to connect with people from the other side, the other realm. Mm-hmm. Is there only 2 sides?
No.
Okay, so there's multiple.
There are multiple different levels depending on the belief system that you believe in. So like I said, I've kind of been exploring Northern European shamanism, which means I'm going on shamanic journeys all the time. And shamanic journeys are interesting because you go to this central location that is in the physical world that you can like tether yourself to. And then there are, I think, 4 other ones on the same plane as the earth plane. There are 3 lower levels and 3 higher level tiers. So those are just like dimensions there. On like the shamanic journeying, there are so many more dimensions that you can travel. Astral projection will tell you this, will show you this. There's so many different realms that you can explore, but those are the few that I know of from my experience of actually going there.
And the follow-up question to that is, what side does a baby fall under? Like Serena's baby, is she here in this realm, or where is she at?
So that actually opens a whole different can of worms. When souls come to Earth, they, especially if this is their first time being incarnated on this Earth, they are kind of prepped with old spiritual teachers that like they talk about them as ascended masters, like the Buddha, Jesus, like all of these different spiritual leaders and people who completed their purposes in this life kind of will sit with them. They'll kind of have an initiation. They write up their soul contract, which talks about every major hard thing that they'll have to go through in life, the type of situation they're going to be born into, the way that they die, when they're born, like all these specific things are tied into their soul contract. So if you have like I want to say like a miscarriage, that soul, typically, if it was like a late term miscarriage, that was the way they wrote it into their soul contract. That was, they were coming here mostly to just be a lesson or something to initiate growth in you. And then they'll come back with another soul contract. My mom, with my last brother, had, I believe, 3 miscarriages before him. And she used to always tell people, yeah, it just took a while of getting him here, because it really is like the same soul that kind of recycles back to you in those circumstances, because they're helping you grow. They're helping you get to a place where you're ready to receive them. And then when you are ready, they set their soul contract to come in. But like, that's going to be on a higher level plane. Very different to describe. It's going to be on one of the upper level planes, versus like the ancestors, which are at the root of this shamanic tree. The ancestors are the roots. So in the lower planes, you're going to see all of your ancestors. You're going to see all of the people that came before you, as well as the original soul of every single animal to ever exist. So the very original black bear, that one soul is going to be in this lower level, where the souls of all the black bears that were made after that are going to go to a different plane that's very equal to Earth.
So are we meeting those same people that write that contract with us? Are we meeting them when our time comes?
Yeah, absolutely. They'll talk to you about your purpose, whether or not you completed your purpose in this life, kind of like your mission, how well you did, and just kind of your next steps from that point forward.
What's the idea and the belief with the ayahuasca, why is it that psychedelics will open this it's easy to understand why. It gets you out of your head, right? It's very simple that way. But really, what is that, do you think?
It's plant medicine, specifically. Do you know how ayahuasca came about?
No.
So ayahuasca, this is one of my favorites because I want
can
to go
see you just light right up.
I love it. I want to go do ayahuasca so terribly.
Have you never done it?
I have not. So I want to go to Costa Rica and do it down at Rhythmia down there. They have a specific, it's like a 5-day thing. You do ayahuasca 5 days in a row. And you sit in ceremony, and then after, like, you talk about it with the shamans and everything. But I've learned a lot about ayahuasca in the last 2 years because it's been something that's very much called to me. And ayahuasca was created and born into this world because in the Amazon, there were all these different tribes. None of them knew the other existed. And all their people started getting sick, and they couldn't figure out why. And so all of their medicine men went on a shamanic journey to the higher realms where the more intelligent beings reside, the higher consciousness beings reside, and asked them how they could heal their people. And all of these medicine men in these tribes that had never met each other, never knew anybody existed, received the same recipe, because ayahuasca is 2 different plants, received the same recipe to create this medicine that would make their tribes purge all of the toxins and the negativity out of their bodies. And so they did that. All of these tribes did that, and it healed their people. And so then when they started finding that there were more tribes in the Amazon, they realized that this was the same story for all of them. So it was very much a channeled message. Ayahuasca and psilocybin and all of that, they have a spirit attached to them. So a lot of times when people do ayahuasca, they refer to the spirit as Grandmother Aya, and she is what kind of shows you specific things. Ayahuasca can be really traumatizing because it makes you kind of relive a lot of your traumas in different ways so that you can heal those and get them out of your body to continue forward. Mushrooms, I have tried a couple times in my life. The first few times I was not a fan because I was an idiot teenager and was like, this is fun, let's try this. Absolutely not. You don't want to do it. You want to treat it with respect, otherwise it's going to bite you in the ass. And you want to really respect the plant medicine spirits that are there for you, because the last time that I did mushrooms, I sat by myself in my room, put on some binaural beats, and I remember distinctly was telling my friend after that I felt like my brain had been split in two, and how I would be like fixated on something, and then something else would be like, okay, now we're going to look over here and we're going to contemplate this theory and this philosophical idea, and we're going to think about this thing right here, and now we're going to move over here. And I had like a trip guide in my head, and I couldn't figure it out until I learned that there is a spirit attached to psilocybin that is your trip guide that helps you learn. So,
have you seen that Netflix thing that's out with it? Whatever, something fungi. It's good.
Ooh, I'll have to go watch it.
Watch it. What's it called? Something fungi.
Okay.
It's fucking awesome. It's really cool.
I'll have to go.
Yeah, check it out. That stuff man, you're intelligent. You're very well.
I told you, I keep a lot of random facts.
You're way into it. No, I like it, man. I think it's really cool. Yeah, that's it right there. Fantastic Fungi. Unbelievable show. The way everything in this universe is tied right back to this is how it all started. This is the new idea of how we come about.
Yep, absolutely.
Humans come about from this.
The life. Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's very, very interesting.
Well,
you can't watching it. You're like, it's hard to argue anything about it. It's like this gospel, the way they put it together. It's very. You got to check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it because I love
the guy who's on Joe Rogan is in it. If you know that dude with the mushroom hat or whatever. I can't remember his name, but he does. It's beautiful. Well done. Well done. We watched it a little bit high. Oh boy, it was a good time. Check it out. It's really like very visually crazy too. It's really really well done movie. You have to watch this.
Okay, it's on my list. It's the next thing.
Watch it. You need to see it too. It's dope. It will fuck with your head for sure.
Other than connecting with the other side and all that good stuff, like how do you unwind? Like what do you do for fun?
That's such a loaded question because the majority of my fun is exactly this. I just love to learn about the things that I like to learn about. I was never a good student in high school because no classes taught what I wanted to learn. So I learned from a young age that college is obsolete. I'm not paying all the money to get a bachelor's degree that's going to give me $15 an hour starting. And so I like to build my business. I like to create content for people. I like to teach people. I like to show people kind of the possibilities that are out there for them, because so many people, myself included when I was younger, you grow up thinking like, okay, this is the cookie cutter thing. This is what you do. This is where you go. Like, okay, you go to school, you graduate, you go to college. Okay, then you meet the love of your life. And you, if you're like my mom, you get your associate's degree, drop out of college, get married, have 4 kids, and your entire life is now just taking care of them. And I didn't really want that for myself. So I love showing people that there's more out there for them, that they don't have to live these cookie cutter lives, that you are inspirational and you are magic just by being who you are, just by the beliefs that you hold in your brain. The human brain is so incredible because we only use, our conscious brain is only 5%. The other 95% is the subconscious, the brain that rules how you breathe and your repetitive thoughts. You have over 60,000 thoughts a day. And because of that, you can't regulate all of the thoughts that you're having. So the beliefs that are in your subconscious literally are this generator for the experiences that you're having in your life. And just knowing that you don't need anything other than the drive and the will to say, I don't want to live like this anymore, you can completely transform and change your life just by that. So that's what I like to do. That's my fun, is just showing people that their magic, their power, and all they have to do is step into it.
I think that is the secret to life, right? The new phrase, the new secret to life is being as unbelievably present as you possibly can be in the very moment, and think of it as play, not work. Mm-hmm. That's the answer to life.
Absolutely.
Because you can't do anything about what's coming, and you can't do anything about what's happened. You can just be. So just be.
Exactly. Well, and
just
you think
be
about it.
And work with be.
Exactly. The present moment is the only moment to exist. Time is a made-up construct that humans made up to try and understand things, but that's not actually how it works. They, in quantum physics, describe time as something that is everything that has ever happened or will ever happen is happening in this moment, but our consciousness is not big enough to look at all of that happening. We have to hyperfixate on one thing at a time. So the more you expand your consciousness, the more you collapse time, and the more that you're able to call in these different experiences into your life faster, because you can expand that consciousness. And it's really crazy to think about, because when you're, I don't know, I have anxiety a lot about things. I used to really like replay conversations in my head a lot, like, oh, I said this wrong and I shouldn't have done this. Or on my way here, I was like, I'm nervous. What if we have nothing to talk about? Even though I know for myself that's never going to happen, because I always have something to talk about. But I make up these scenarios in my head and I get so worked up, and then I have to be like, Shelby, breathe. Your higher self already got this. You already figured this out. You've already been there. You've already done that. You've already been here. You've already done this. But this is the moment that you get to enjoy. This is the moment that you get to experience. This is the moment that you are supposed to be present in, so that you can soak up the life experience that you're experiencing, and forget about living in the future, forget about living in the past, because that's what creates anxiety, that's what creates depression, that's what creates a lot of mental illness that we see, is because people aren't living in the specific moment.
Very well said.
Thank you.
It's absolutely beautifully true. It's very true.
And it's my favorite concept.
And that's why
about.
Oftentimes the second you stop this, you're going to go, what the fuck just happened?
Exactly.
Because you're not even driving, bro. It's just happening.
Something else.
That's when we lose track of time. We're like, damn, that was only blah, blah, blah. It's because you're there. When we're there, we lose track of everything. It doesn't matter. Everything goes away. And you're like, what did I just say?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. It was fucking awesome, man.
You're experiencing
I
life.
live that. That's where I love to be. That's why I have no track of, I don't even know what day it is. I don't know the time. I don't care. I'm just going at her, man.
That's the way that it should be.
It's very interesting.
That is absolutely, I mean, you're here to experience the experiences of life. You're not here to experience bills and die. You're not here to live your life on a clock.
And live in memory.
Exactly.
There's no excitement in memory. There's nothing exciting there. There's nothing to cultivate. There's nothing to do. That's just memory.
You can't change
been.
anything.
It's been. And what's coming is anxiety. So just be.
Just be.
Breathe, be. And you're steering your ship, man. Nobody has anything to do with your life but you.
Yeah,
I believe it with my
exactly.
heart. It doesn't matter what anybody believes in. You're steering your own ship. So rock and roll and live right now.
Destiny is for losers.
I love that. Dude, this was incredible.
I really had a ton of fun, and I appreciate you guys having me on, because like I said, I could go on for this for 30 years, so eventually it's going to have to end, but.
Well, I think you need to. And I would love to see you fire up a podcast.
I would love to.
Because
I think.
You got more. You need a podcast right now.
All right, that's the next goal. That's
If only
the
we
next
had a
step.
spot for you.
I know.
Say the word. It's on. You got it.
Awesome.
What was you gonna say something, bro?
I was just gonna say, I think you kind of already answered it, but what are you feeling for this October?
This October. So the collective feeling that I've been getting a lot, that I've noticed a lot of people have been talking about this, it's very much the inner child. Focusing on reconnecting to your inner child is what I'm getting for September and October. So all of my Instagram content and everything is centered around that. For some reason, fall for me is my favorite season, but it is the season where I feel the most drawn to reconnect with my childlike self. A lot of people think that when you turn 18 and you grow up and you're an adult, like, your child self ceases to exist. That is not true. Before you ever take care of a human child, there is one child that always needs you, and that is your child self, that you need to nurture and reparent and be the person that you needed as a child that you didn't receive. This is not to say that everybody has bad parents or bad parenting. There will always be things and validations that weren't given to children. That's just how it is. My goal for being a parent is not to give my children no childhood trauma to heal from, because that's just not possible, but giving them less childhood trauma to heal from than I had to heal from. That is my entire goal of being a parent. And so I think for me, fall is always reconnecting to that childhood self, remembering and reminding my childhood self that she's validated, that she is loved, that she is allowed to be expressive, that she is safe to be expressive, that she can be weird. I was the weird kid in elementary school. That was really traumatic for me because I have a super overactive imagination, and I shut that out for a lot of my life after that, and fuck that. I'm
That's
not
the
doing
problem.
that anymore.
That's the problem with school. With that, all of that is suppression.
Exactly.
Whatever a kid's showing you, ADD, ADHD. You said those words earlier. There's a very big reason why those are so a thing. Those kids are psycho good at something.
Exactly.
And you're repressing that.
Exactly.
So don't. It's a gift. I love whatever the people call this. I don't even think it's a real thing. It's not. We've put a little thing to it. I have more of the AD, whatever you want to call it, than anybody alive. And look at me. It's because I didn't want to sit in fucking school. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anybody challenging school, I applaud because there's a reason for that. Yeah, I can go all into that. I'm not even going to. There's a reason for that, and it's okay. Let these people be what they are.
Exactly.
It repressed your unbelievable talent, but with that repression come this growth.
Exactly.
With this fall that you're saying you love the fall, you told me in the cards it's death. It's everything's dying right now. The grass is dying, the tree's dying. It's the death card. Everything's getting ready to fire back up.
Yep.
So I can see that's all cool, man.
I think the biggest thing for me for fall and winter, I hate winter with a passion, but it is always where I do my most growing, my most emotional growing, and it's because we see the example of Earth and Mother Nature. She's returning back to her roots, and then when spring hits, she's putting life back out into the world.
There you go.
But you have to follow the cycles. You have to, at some point, return back to the roots of who you are, of who you came from, of the lineage that you came from, hence why October is so huge for ancestry and connecting to your guides and ancestors and the people that came before you, because that veil is thinner. So returning to your roots, I think, is something that is so often bypassed in our world, and people so often try to just like move on to the next thing instead of winding down and coming back into themselves before they start that next thing. Because if you're not centered, you're never going to do anything to the best of your ability. You have to come back to your roots. You have to come back to yourself to know if something is the right decision for you, first off, and to be able to execute it in the best way possible.
Let's bring some value here as simple as we can to the people listening to this at the end of this. How do you sum up what's a really just solid piece of advice for people right now? What's a good thing to hear? What's just people just this. People, let's just this. Is there anything like that in your head?
I feel like don't be afraid to challenge societal norms. Their structures are put in place to subtract your power instead of multiply your power. Don't be afraid to challenge those norms, and don't be afraid to work with yourself. A lot of people look for advice on the outside, but I feel like you should look for advice on the inside more so.
Self-improvement's a funny word, right?
Absolutely.
We self-improvement. We go for a guru to help us self-improve. It's called self-improvement.
Exactly.
Exactly. And you can do it.
It's not as hard as it seems. It takes time. Some days are hard because you do have to process the emotions that you felt.
That's part of it.
That is part of the
it's
healing
all part
cycle.
of the thing, he says.
Exactly.
That makes the thing go. That makes the thing go. Quit trying to undo the thing.
I love it. Yeah. So that's just do the thing, do the emotional thing that you need. Fix what you feel is holding you back and weighing you down, and just know that you're meant for more than anybody ever told you you were going to be.
And no matter what, it's going to change. It's going to be, everything's going to be fine.
Everything is going to be better than fine. This or something better.
It has to be.
This or something better, always.
I love it.
There's no option for worst case scenarios in this house.
I love it. I think you're a ray of sunshine.
Thank you.
Just like Dre is.
Absolutely.
When you told him he's the yellow ray of sunshine.
He's the sunshine emoji with the little glasses.
We love what we do here. We absolutely love this. I'm so glad to have met you and formally actually meet you here. We didn't actually ever really meet other than, hey, what's up?
How are you?
So I was very thankful for your time.
Well, you as well. This was absolutely a pleasure. So thank you guys, both of you.
This was rock and roll for sure.
Awesome.
You got anything else?
Really, just your socials. Where can people join the school and whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is Shelby, so that's SHELBY.Nye, like Bill Nye, so that's NYE.co is where you can find me on Instagram. That's where the majority of my free content is for everybody. And then if you just go to ShelbyNyeCo.com, you'll find the Bad Witch Club. Sign up there for you guys.
I'm a fan. Consider me signed up. I think that was awesome.
We like that.
I appreciate all your time. I appreciate everybody here that was part of this tonight. And that's it. Breathe. And no matter what, the most important thing you do with your life is what you do with your life. I love you all.